And at number 10, Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson is easily the celebrity with the worst track record relating to the Super Bowl. In 2004, she had the honor of leading the halftime performance, but she made the biggest mistake of her life and invited Justin Timberlake to perform with her. This incident was so bad it coined the term wardrobe malfunction. While her and Timberlake were performing the song Rock Your Body, Justin reached over and ripped her shirt, exposing her bare breasts to everyone watching live. Over 540,000 complaints were filed after the incident, and CBS was even fined for allowing it to appear on TV. Following the mishap, Jackson was banned from attending the Grammys that year, and all the world could talk about was Janet Jackson, even though Timberlake completely caused the malfunction. Watching the performance back now, it's clear that the moment was staged, we're just not sure where exactly it went wrong. It was rumored that he was supposed to pull back the top part and expose just the red lace bra she was wearing underneath, but obviously he ripped off too much. Jackson's career has really never recovered following the event. And at number 9, Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake's career totally took off after the Super Bowl incident, and it was a minor bump in the road for his career. Thankfully, he has gotten some repercussions recently. In 2021, after the release of Framing Britney Spears, the world got to see how badly the media treated her. One portion was the fact that Timberlake accused her of cheating in his Cry Me a River music video, and spoke about their intimate life when that was not something that she wanted to do. Janet Jackson was also brought into this conversation, and people were angry he took zero accountability for hurting them both. He responded with an apology note on Instagram, but it was not accepted. In 2018, Timberlake hosted the Super Bowl himself, which is insane considering he is the reason for the malfunction. During that performance, he did a Prince cover and decided to include a huge Prince display during the performance. Prince's family did not like this, and he got tons of backlash for disrespecting Prince's wishes. In at number 8, Katy Perry. Katy Perry headlined the halftime show in 2015 and put on a bright and colorful performance, as expected. During the show, she brought out other performers like Lenny Kravitz and Missy Elliott. But after it was done, all anyone could talk about was Perry's backup dancer, who became memed as the left shark. During the performance, Perry had two giant sharks behind her dancing while she sang Teenage Dream, but the left one caught everyone's attention because the shark was off cue the whole time and looked to be falling behind. The shark even became one of the year's top Halloween costumes. After the performance, everyone wanted to know the full story behind Left Shark, so the dancer inside the costume, Brian Gaw, shared his side. He had been dancing with Perry for 5 years beforehand, and he said that he felt the performance was up to interpretation, so he decided to play a different sort of character as the goofy shark who did not know what he was doing, and clearly he played the role perfectly. And at number 7, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. In 2014, Bruno Mars ran the halftime show and decided to bring out the Red Hot Chili Peppers as one of his guests. The band and Mars performed Give It Away, and everyone loved it. However, during the performance, fans on TV realized that the bass and guitars were not plugged in, making it clear it was not actually a live performance. The band started to get tons of backlash, and people were angry that they did not play live as they claimed they would. The bassist later made a statement which revealed, quote, "When we were asked by the NFL and Bruno to play our song Give It Away at the Super Bowl, it was made clear to us that the vocals would be live, but the bass, drums, guitar would all be pre-recorded." The band's guitarist also doubled down, revealing that every band in the last 10 years has also performed to a recorded track, because there is way too much room for error with a real live performance, and they don't have time to deal with any problems. And at number 6, Maroon 5. The 2019 Super Bowl was fraught with scandal. That year, Colin Kaepernick decided to kneel for the national anthem instead of stand, and it became a political war between those who supported him and those who did not. During the season, the NFL made the controversial policy to ban the protest, which many felt was silencing Kaepernick and others that joined him. By the time the Super Bowl came around, no big star wanted to affiliate themselves with the NFL. A number of performers were asked to lead the halftime show, but all refused, until Maroon 5 and Travis Scott agreed. Even before it was announced that they agreed to do the show, thousands of people signed a Change.org petition calling on the group to drop out. One comment on the petition read, quote, "Kaepernick risked his career to take a knee for equality, and the NFL punished him for it. Until the league changes their policy and supports players' constitutional right to protest, no artist should agree to work with the NFL." Amy Schumer even tweeted for the group to reconsider. Maroon 5 responded by saying, quote, "I'm not in the right profession if I can't handle a little bit of controversy. It is what it is, we expect it, we'd like to move on from it." Halfway number 5, MIA. During Madonna's halftime slot at the 2012 Super Bowl, she brought out her collaborators on the song Give Me All Your Lovin', MIA and Nicki Minaj. But the great night came to a crashing halt after MIA flipped the bird at the end of the performance, and millions of viewers at home saw. The league was so outraged by the decision that they decided to sue her for $16 million. The suit was settled between parties for an undisclosed amount. After the scandal, she claimed the finger was a, quote, "display of female empowerment through being punk rock." Madonna later commented that she had no idea it even happened until much later, but she was really surprised to learn that it happened, saying, quote, "I was really surprised. I didn't know anything about it. I wasn't happy about it. I understand it's punk rock and everything, but to me there was such a feeling of love and and good energy and positivity, it seemed negative. In at number 4, Coldplay. It's hard not to love Coldplay, but sadly their Super Bowl halftime show was really cringy, mostly because the band was upstaged by their guests Beyonce and Bruno Mars. I assume most of you didn't even know that Beyonce's legendary Super Bowl performance in 2016 wasn't actually her show, it was Coldplay's show, she just guest starred. Considering many people don't remember anything about Coldplay's performance, it's clear that they took the back seat. During the show, Chris Martin's performance looked more like a third wheel, not someone who was actually supposed to be there. In at number 3, Fergie. In 2011, Fergie and the Black Eyed Peas hosted the Super Bowl halftime show, and they brought out special guest Slash during the performance. In between performing Black Eyed Peas songs, Fergie and Slash performed a rendition of Sweet Child of Mine. That had fans in uproar. As we know, Fergie likes to put her own spin on classic songs, but this one was not received well. It was the third song in an 8-song set list, which Rolling Stone described as the worst Super Bowl halftime show of all time. This was not the last time a rendition of a song went horribly wrong for Fergie though. A few years later, Fergie took to the NBA stage to perform the American National Anthem, and it was so bad we've really never heard from her since. In at number 2, Indiana Jones. If you were too young to remember this happened, I'm so sorry I'm gonna remind you, because it was an epic disaster. In 1995, Disney unveiled its Indiana Jones Adventure Temple of the Forbidden Eye ride, and they felt the best place to promote this new ride was at the 1995 Super Bowl halftime show. Disney came on board as the producer of the show, and it was pretty goddamn strange. The 11-minute show was somewhat of a musical theater performance. First, we see Patti LaBelle lip-syncing to a random song, then Indiana Jones and Marion Ravenwood show up via parachute and have to fight their way through a horde of ninjas for some reason. Then they grab the Vince Lombardi trophy and run away. Then the performers all sing Can You Feel the Love Tonight, which kind of felt like a strange choice. Thankfully, there was no mishaps during this performance, but we're glad something like this did not happen again. And finally, at number 1, Elvis Presto. Yes, you read that right. During the 1989 Super Bowl, there was an Elvis Presley impersonator that stole the show for all the wrong reasons, even though it was a great game. And the San Francisco 49ers edged out the Cincinnati Bengals 20-16 to win the event. All anyone could talk about the next day was Elvis Presto. For the halftime show, the NFL got a 1950s musical group led by a magician dressed as Elvis Presley to perform. This fake Elvis performed a magic trick for the crowd, which was deemed, quote, the world's largest card trick. Coca-Cola and NBC also presented the performance in 3D, and viewers could pick up a pair of 3D glasses before the event. The end result was a strange performance and a 3D show on mass scale. And at number 10, Travis Scott. Travis has faced a lot of backlash in the past, as we've come to learn, between the offensive things that he said and his conduct during his concerts, and because of this, Travis very well could be blacklisted from performing at the Super Bowl. We have of course heard about what happened at Travis Scott's Astroworld concert last year. The rapper's performance ended in tragedy as the chaos that ensued during the concert left multiple people passed away and hundreds injured. 10 people lost their lives due to the events that unfolded, and many others are still recovering from their injuries, as well as the families of those affected still trying to cope with everything. There's a lot of footage circling the internet showing what happened that night, and the madness that occurred during the performance, with people showing the crowds of people and even some fans yelling to stop the show. After the incident, we found out that the Houston police chief actually warned Travis about crowd control prior to the event, expressing his concerns for public safety at the event. After people found this out, Travis started facing even more backlash, as fans said that if he really listened to this warning, these casualties could have been avoided. The NFL certainly wouldn't want to take a chance on Travis after this tragic incident. And at number 9, Kanye West. Kanye West isn't the nicest guy out there, and I think we all know that by now. Whether it's on stage or on Twitter, I'm sure we've seen Kanye West being pretty mean and offensive on multiple occasions. Remember the VMA incident where he stole Taylor Swift's spotlight after winning her award? We also have to mention his tweets as well. He's very outspoken online and has a tendency to offend people a lot. From his claims about Bill Cosby being an innocent man following his allegations, as well as his tweets bashing his own family members, Kanye doesn't hold back on this and has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, making them hate him. Because of all the backlash that he's faced, as well as his unpredictable nature, the NFL probably will have him banned so as not to risk the success of their halftime show. In at number 8, Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson is known for his alt metal music and unique style, but he's also someone that a lot of people have come to hate. Actress Evan Rachel Wood came out earlier last year to name the singer as the person who inflicted harm upon her, accusing him of manipulating and brainwashing her from a young age. The actress posted a testimony to her Instagram calling Manson, as well as the industry, out for his actions and for enabling him all this time. In the past, Evan Rachel Wood has spoken out about the fact that she was in a toxic relationship and has detailed some of the horrifying things that she experienced, but she never named him until that time. In a published testimony, she said, quote, "He broke me down through means of starvation, sleep deprivation, and threats against my life, sometimes with weapons, which would result in me having severe panic attacks where I was unable to breathe or stop shaking." She also said that he had her phone tapped and had threats made against her loved ones. Manson has lost all credibility in the industry as well as in general public, so as a result I wouldn't be surprised if he never held another live performance again, especially not at the Super Bowl. In at number 7, Sinead O'Connor. In October of 1992, Sinead O'Connor caused some controversy during her guest spot on SNL. She was brought on the show to be its musical guest, and already people were a little confused by her as she refused to sing one of her songs from her recent album at the time. She instead opted to sing an a cappella version of Bob Marley's song War. It was an intense performance, and she even changed some of the lyrics to specifically mention young people. As the song came to an end and she was wrapping up her performance, she pulled out a photo of Pope John Paul II and tore it up, saying, quote, "Fight the real enemy." Sinead's actions caused a huge stir. After her performance, NBC started receiving thousands of angry calls over the following days, and even some celebrities came forward to criticize Sinead's actions. There have already been many scandals in the past when it comes to the halftime show, and the network has been known to get many complaints, so they probably don't want to hire Sinead to perform, even if she was a guest. Because of her past controversies, they probably banned Sinead from performing at the Super Bowl. And at number 6, DaBaby. Last year, rapper DaBaby caused a big uproar in the LGBT+ community. He got into quite the controversy after he said some pretty offensive things while on stage performing at Rolling Loud in Miami. While on the stage, the rapper made offensive comments about the gay community, as well as HIV and AIDS, calling it a, quote, "deadly sexually transmitted disease that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. He also went on to say some more homophobic things about gay men that also added fuel to the fire. This was a huge scandal at the time, and so because of that and the nature of the comments he made, the people who organized the Super Bowl probably won't want to have the rapper perform at the halftime show, and they have him banned. Maybe not forever, but certainly for now. Halfway number 5, Akon. Rapper Akon once got so mad at a fan that he threw him off stage. And I don't mean he was escorted, I mean he literally picked someone up and threw them. The whole incident went down in 2007 at one of his performances at the Duchess Stadium. A 15-year-old fan threw an object at Akon from the audience, and this really made him mad. He had people bring the kid up on stage just for Akon to pick him up and chuck him off it. As a result of the incident, Akon was given a $350 fine and was ordered to complete 65 hours of community service. This kind of behavior definitely wouldn't be tolerated at the Super Bowl. The NFL might think that Akon could react in a similar way if something went wrong, and Akon snapped again, and they probably don't want to risk another meltdown. He probably won't be invited to perform at the big game. And at number 4, Billie Joe Armstrong. In 2012, Green Day was performing at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, and things got heated. According to the band's frontrunner, Billie Joe Armstrong, the show's producers had allegedly cut the band's set time down from 45 minutes to just 25. This obviously didn't sit right with him, and as he watched the timer count down as he and the band performed, that just made him angry to the point where he sort of threw a tantrum when the band was down to its last minute of set time. Billy kept shouting, "1 minute left," over and over again, and went on to say that he's been around since '88, hinting that since he's been around for so long, he deserves respect. Then in a fit of rage, he took his guitar by the neck and began smashing it on the stage until it broke. He then threw his mic and stormed off stage. Much like Akon's on-stage meltdown, the NFL probably wouldn't want to risk something bad happening on stage, and so the Green Day frontrunner could be on the list of banned celebrities. And at number 3, Janet Jackson. The Super Bowl halftime show is one moment a year that millions of people tune in to watch at the same time. People turn off their reality TV programs and reruns of Jeopardy to grab a snack and watch the year's biggest performance. Well, during the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show, viewers watched a serious wardrobe malfunction happen that was life-changing to say the least. Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake were performing together when a move went wrong, and Janet's breasts ended up being exposed. Following the incident, the media dubbed Nipplegate, the FCC sued CBS for the live incident in a $550,000 lawsuit citing indecent exposure for their cause. Janet Jackson was put through the ringer for her part in the whole scandal. As a result, she was uninvited to the Grammy Awards that year, and her songs were blacklisted from the radio. Even the next few albums she released following the incident was met with negative reviews because of the scandal. After this huge scandal, Janet faced some pretty big setbacks, and many people thought that she was permanently banned from the Super Bowl. This could be true, but since it's been so many years, we really can't know for sure. And at number 2, 50 Cent. Back in 2016, rapper 50 Cent got in some trouble while in the Caribbean after saying some colorful language on stage at one of his concerts. It all happened during one of his performances while in St. Kitts. In St. Kitts, the use of profanity in public is illegal, and so when it came to his concert, he was told that he had to refrain from using any adult language while on stage. But during one of his songs, he mistakenly said the word mother effer in front of the audience of 40,000 people, and it was a huge no-no. He was allowed to finish the rest of his set, but he was promptly arrested after the show. In his defense, 50 Cent said that he didn't have a clean version of the song and he forgot to move his mic away from his mouth when he said the word. Because the halftime show was broadcast live, networks want to make sure that the show is somewhat family friendly, and since 50 Cent has been in a scandal for using profanity in public before, he could be banned from performing just to be on the safe side. And finally, at number 1, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. The Super Bowl seems to be pretty good at creating scandals. Whether it's related to the game itself or the halftime show, there's bound to be some kind of trending moment during the event. And in 2014, there was a scandalous moment during the halftime performance by the band the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Even though during their performance it looked like everyone was jamming out hardcore and having a good time, it turns out that was all pretty much fake. The band was exposed after it was revealed that they performed with their instruments unplugged and pre-recorded setlists playing over them. After they got exposed, they explained that they pre-recorded their performance as to ensure that nothing went wrong, but somehow, even with those precautions, they still ended up in a bit of hot water with fans. Now they could be banned after this scandal. Though it wasn't major, the backlash was still there and fans might not want to tune in again to see another performance flop, and obviously the NFL doesn't want to see that, so they wouldn't let them back. And at number 10, Kanye West's mask. We all know that Kanye loves to stand out, and that was no different at Sunday's Super Bowl. Kanye showed up to the game with his 2 kids, Saint and North, and he decided to wear a black mask that covered his entire face. The only ventilation in the mask were multiple tiny black holes made around his eyes. During the game, he was also posting constantly to Instagram, mostly taking aim at Kim Kardashian and her new boyfriend Pete Davidson. Comedian and director Judd Apatow even gave the inside scoop on Kanye's feelings about the outfit, and apparently Kanye regretted the choice. Apatow heard Kanye and a friend talking about the ridiculous mask. Apatow's caption said, quote, "I'm sitting near Kanye. He seems very hot and sweaty in the mask. I overheard him say, man, I wish I didn't go with the mask today, but now that I'm in, I can't really bail on it." Kanye then asked a friend if he could lose the mask at halftime, but the friend said he just has to commit to the decision now. Kanye apparently added, quote, "I wish we would have cut some more vents in this thing." And at number 9, Doja Cat. This one isn't that embarrassing, but Doja Cat had some fans scratching their heads when she appeared on the Jumbotron at the Super Bowl. She was seated next to The Weeknd, and when the camera panned to the group, she decided to meme the situation in usual fashion. When the camera appeared, everyone smiled and looked towards it, other than Doja, who looked at the camera like she was afraid or something, clearly memeing the situation. Then when another camera showed a different angle, we could see her slowly raising her thumbs. She was not the only one who had a questionable appearance on the Jumbotron though. After a few more stars were shown, the camera panned to see Shaq, who did some really uncomfortable tongue movements before the camera then panned away. And at number 8, Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson is easily the celebrity with the worst track record relating to the Super Bowl, and it's no question that she's had the most embarrassing experience. In 2004, she had the honor of leading the halftime performance, but she made the mistake of inviting Justin Timberlake to perform with her. This incident was so bad, it coined the term wardrobe malfunction. While her and Timberlake were performing the song Rock Your Body, Justin reached over and ripped her shirt, exposing her bare breasts to everyone watching live. Over 540,000 complaints were filed after the incident, and CBS was even fined for allowing it to appear on TV. Following the mishap, Jackson was banned from attending the Grammys that year, and all the world could talk about was Janet Jackson, even though Timberlake completely caused the malfunction. Watching the performance back, it's clear that moment was staged. We're just not sure where exactly it went wrong. It was rumored that he was just supposed to pull back the top part and expose a red lace bra that she was wearing underneath, but obviously he ripped off too much. Jackson's career has never really recovered following the event. And at number 7, Katy Perry. Thankfully, Katy Perry did not embarrass herself by doing anything wrong, but her halftime show is not remembered for how entertaining or groundbreaking that it was, rather it's remembered because of the embarrassing left shark. Katy Perry headlined the halftime show in 2015 and put on a bright and colorful performance, as expected. When the show ended, all anyone could talk about was Perry's backup dancer, who became memed as the left shark. During the performance, Perry had 2 giant sharks behind her dancing while she sang Teenage Dream, but the left one caught everyone's attention because the shark was off cue the whole time and looked to be falling behind. That year, the shark became one of the year's top Halloween costumes. After this performance, everyone wanted to know the full story behind Left Shark, so the dancer inside the costume, Brian Goss, shared his side. He'd been dancing with Perry for 5 years beforehand, and he said that he felt the performance was up to interpretation, so he decided to play a different sort of character as the goofy shark who did not know what he was doing, and clearly he played that role perfectly. In at number 6, Coldplay. This group's halftime show was so monumental and iconic that people still talk about it to this day. But the embarrassing part is that nobody gives Coldplay any credit for their own show. It's hard not to love Coldplay, but sadly their Super Bowl halftime show was a little cringy, mostly because the band was upstaged by their surprise guests, Beyonce and Bruno Mars. I assume most of you didn't even know that Beyonce's legendary Super Bowl performance in 2016 was not actually her show, it was Coldplay's show. She just guest starred, and completely overshadowed the band during their own show. Considering many people don't remember anything about Coldplay's performance, it's clear they took the back seat. During the show, Chris Martin's performance looked more like a third wheel, not someone who was actually supposed to be there. Halfway number 5, Christina Aguilera. Back in 2011, Christina Aguilera was responsible for a huge blunder when she sang the wrong lyrics to the Star-Spangled Banner. Everyone knows that the national anthem is sang at the beginning of all sporting events, and the countries representing both sides are sang before the game starts. At the Super Bowl, this anthem is the American national anthem, and even though everyone thinks they know the national anthem, they probably didn't know it as well as they think, and are used to just mouthing along to it. So when Christina Aguilera messed it up, it was a big deal. Aguilera's powerful voice boomed throughout the stadium as expected, but she made the mistake of singing the wrong words at the wrong time. The pop star confused "Oh the ramparts we watch, we are so gallantly streaming" with "What so proudly we watched at the twilight's last gleaming." After the mishap, Aguilera addressed the blunder and said that she simply just lost her place. And at number 4, 50 Cent. During the 2022 halftime show, 50 Cent came out as a special guest performer. He sang his hit song "In the Club" in the middle of the landmark show. But the part of his performance that got everyone talking was when he hung upside down while singing a part of the song, in a bizarre and uncomfortable looking decision. This move was a reference to the music video for the song, where 50 can be seen doing upside down crutches. Since this stunt started with him upside down, the set was instantly memed, with fans assuming that 50 was hanging upside down for quite a while he waited for Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre to finish up their song. Like this tweet that read, "50 Cent waiting for his part the whole time, #halftime show." And at number 3, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson opened the Super Bowl with an energetic speech to rile up the players and viewers for the big event about to take place. The nearly 2-minute speech was electric, but during it, fans could not help but notice that his fly might have been down during it. While speaking, he was wearing maroon pants, and you could faintly see white material peeking through his fly, almost like his underwear was just barely showing. Many online called it the 2022 Super Bowl wardrobe malfunction. His clothing choice had already drawn comments before people's eyes were drawn to his crotch though. He was wearing a clashing all-purple ensemble that looked like it had shrunk in the wash and was about to rip every time he started yelling. And at number 2, Kanye's Super Bowl commercial. Kanye West was not only ranting about his ex-wife during the Super Bowl, he also starred in one of the commercials for McDonald's. And I'm sure the PR team for McDonald's was not happy with how the day turned out. The commercial started with people driving up to the window to order and having no idea what they wanted, which prompted them to do the classic as they figured out what they wanted. The commercial shows countless people thinking about what to order, then at the end of the commercial, Kanye rolls up in a huge military-style tank and says, "Hey, can I get a..." until the commercial ends. Ye, who was actually at the Super Bowl with his kids that night, has proclaimed his love for McDonald's in the past. In 2018, he tweeted, quote, "McDonald's is my favorite restaurant." The commercial itself is pretty funny, but the fact that the McDonald's PR team was most likely in disarray was hilarious. And finally, number 1, Mickey Guyton. At this year's Super Bowl, there was an awkward mix-up that was not only embarrassing for the NFL, but also for the performers. Singer Mickey Guyton, who sang the national anthem, was incorrectly labeled as Jhené Aiko while she was up singing. In their defense, Jhené Aiko was singing at the event alongside Guyton, however Aiko sang "America the Beautiful" at a different time. At the time of the mix-up, both women were standing on the field of SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. Immediately, NBC Sports released an apology on Twitter, which read, quote, "We incorrectly showed Mickey Guyton and misidentified her before showing Aiko's performance. We apologize to both artists for the error."